What's up, everybody? Welcome to a semifinal match up 2-0. And what you heard there is obviously the start of a gaming session, in this case, a streamed gaming session. But how many of you know that feeling where you can't wait to play some football on the sticks? You start off, everything's going good, you just want to play football. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter. You literally just want to play football. That's why we play football games, right? Well, you would think that's the obvious answer, but as many of you already know, it's just not the case. Now, I want to make something clear as well, because for some reason people get confused with this. Since I cover all football games, when I'm discussing how bad UFL is and eFootball are and giving the reasons, which it's just facts, those games are awful right now. But for some reason, then when I play FC and people stop in and they hear me say how good the football side of the game is, the content side of the game, and then say this is trash when there is lag or command delay or your players just feel like they aren't moving right, that stuck in the mud feel that you get sometimes throughout your team. You can't get a shot off, a pass off. And of course, it is the worst experience ever. So that part is definitely trash, but that is separate from the actual game itself, the mechanics, the content, just everything that makes a game. It is a server issue. It is an engine issue, right? So to put that into perspective, eFootball and UFL, they are terrible games right now, but they have much better servers. Like, I know some people have the same type of terrible experience with the lag and command delay and stuff in eFootball. I guess it's just their location, because I never experience it. A lot of the people in my community rarely experience lag in eFootball. I've rarely experienced the lag in the command delay in the heavy players and stuff in UFL as well. Nothing like FC. So in that case, I would say terrible games, excellent servers. FC, great game, terrible servers. And the reason I bring up the engine part is because that's something I heard Inception and Nick talk about, where it's not the same as the server delay, command delay, whatever. The coding over the years on top of an outdated engine lead to a lot of that inconsistency. So I don't know too much about that, but those are two guys that I trust that have been doing this a long time, that know the game. And so that's why I'm adding that in there, because I have no doubt they're right about what they're saying. I just don't know as much behind that as I do about the servers being terrible. Now, I still don't know everything about what causes these servers to be such trash in FC and why EA Sports never talks about this, the engine being outdated, none of it, which I guess they do not want people to think their game is terrible, even though its experiences speak for themselves. But still, I don't know like the technical explanation behind it. But I do know, like everybody else, that these issues exist, that there is absolutely inconsistent gameplay, that when the game is feeling good, the players are moving like they should, it's a totally different experience than when there is lag, delay, command delay, whatever you want to call it, just the trash gameplay, let's say. There's a total difference without a doubt. And to exacerbate the problem, you have the worst rats in the history of gaming, and I'm not over exaggerating. Now, the positive side is that these rats used to have so much more to cling on to in FC, and now most every one of the glitchy shots, glitchy types of build-up that they would do have been removed, right? I mean, they have one shot that Travella from like 50 yards out, or finesse shot sometimes from like 50 yards out at a certain angle that floats right into the upper corner. And then sometimes you'll have players try to force the lob through ball and use it as like a moon ball. They'll get it all the way in their backfield and just bomb it all the way up, trying to send attacker through like they used to be able to do. And EA Sports did a good job of nerfing that out. So for the most part, all they have to cling on to is the heavy gameplay, the command delay, and you absolutely see this in a vast majority of games, which is the unfortunate part, that EA Sports has made a lot of strides in getting rid of the nonsense in the game that attracts these ratty players. But even with that being done, they have the server issues or whatever is causing it, just the trash gameplay side of FC that these rats can cling to get around being low skill, low level players, and this allows them to compete and many times even win, even though they don't even belong in certain games skill-wise. So, one of the biggest things that drives me crazy, and a lot of times, yes, it could be trolls, but other times it is literally players that somehow do not see how these rats ruin the game, do not see how pathetic these rats are, and that's what I want to address in this video. Okay, so first things first. For myself and anybody else who can't stand this issue, it is not, oh, that's a skill issue, or oh, you're just making excuses, or oh, you're just mad when you lose. If you think that, then I can't help you, because it is clear as day that these rats, when they can, are not trying to play football. They're trying to do anything possible to just get the win. It doesn't matter if there was a code to put in where they didn't even have to play the game, they would use that code and take the win, even though it would be pointless to turn on a football video game and not play football. That's what they would do. And that couldn't be more evident than in PlayStation tournaments, where you have these ratty losers that try to glitch kick you from the tournament without even playing. So what I mean by that, if you're not familiar, you go into PlayStation tournaments, you play, you win, you move on. If you lose, you're out. You can get into more and more tournaments, and you can win FC points this way. Now, I have 15 championships within like 3 days, which is good, but it literally would be like 30. However, you have these either lag cheats within the game, or you have these rats that glitch kick you out. Why I say glitch is because that's exactly what it is. PlayStation tournaments actually banned players for doing this, but clearly did not get rid of the issue itself. And so what happens is you have a timer. At the end of that timer, the cheat will get out of the game, come immediately back in, get out of the game, come immediately back in, and you have this split second of time where even after the timer is expired, you can get out and hurry up and get back in. But what happens is they'll do this and they'll keep going and going and going until the timer expires, and they basically make it to where you can't get back in the lobby to play the game. So in summary, they cheat to get a victory without playing. Even though both players are in, ready to play, they decided to just screw the other player over just to get the victory. That is what these rats do. Now, if they could do something like this within Rivals, within Champs, you better believe they would. But they do whatever else they can within the game to, like I said, not play football and get the victory. Therefore, when myself and others talk about this and you hear players say excuses or skill issue or whatever, it's infuriating. But at the same time, it's like, if people are that blind, what are you going to do? You can't really reason with somebody that thinks that way when it is so obvious what these rats are trying to do and how they are ruining the game. And speaking of ruining the game, that is exactly why I call these rats out and make sure that people understand how pathetic they are. Because they aren't just turning on the game and having fun or doing what they want to do. Leave them alone. Because players actually will say that. They will act like cheating or cutting corners or whatever else these rats are doing is fine. It's their game. They paid for it. Let them play how they want. Well, the problem is they are playing other players. It's like saying in real life, if there's a cheater in football or a board game or anything, well, that's how they want to have fun. Just let them. I use this on stream. I'll use it on here for anybody who hasn't heard this analogy. But let's say you're playing Monopoly. It's just a for fun board game, right? But you're sitting there with friends and family for hours because that game takes forever. And all of a sudden, you're 3-4 hours in and you see that a player had a pocket full of other Monopoly money that they would just replenish when they were losing money in the game. So they were cheating the whole entire time. And you find this out, you're not just going to be like, oh, well, let him do what he wants. That was just how he wanted to have fun. No, everyone's going to be pissed that this cheater wasted all their time for no reason. I mean, he was out a long time ago. Maybe he won the game. Whatever it was, he cheated. So the game wasn't legitimate. That is an issue when you're playing a game with others. Maybe if these players were playing AI and did all these shortcuts to try to beat the AI, okay, if that's fun for you, have a blast. But when you are playing PvP and the whole point is competing in football and you're trying to do anything but that to just get a win, that is nonsense. That is ruining the game. And as always, the only way to potentially get these issues addressed is by speaking up about them. Problems do not get solved, for the most part, by ignoring them. You must address these issues. You must bring this to the forefront, and others are also looking for guidance in these situations because they may be going through this and they just don't know what to do. They might love the game, but game after game after game, they play these players ruining it, right? Maybe they're playing PlayStation tournaments and have no idea what's going on, but randomly they're getting kicked. They need to know they're facing cheaters so they're not going crazy or thinking that it's their internet or whatever else. These rats are a huge problem and they defeat the whole purpose of buying a football game to compete. So that is why I shared my energy when I start a gaming session in FC or any football game and when I start a stream, because it is far different than when these rats start ruining the game. That's the same for myself and many others. You want to play football, so you're happy. And then you realize there are players within these games, and in particular, they are terrible in FC. So there are players that will ruin your experience and turn it from, I'm excited to play football, to, this is not football, I'm done. Even though that shouldn't be the case, because these rat losers are the problem. They are the ones who should be done because they are literally turning on a sport simulator, a football video game, and knowingly doing anything but playing football just for the sake of winning something, just for the sake of getting rewards to then what? Build your team better so you can go in and once again not play football, so you can cut corners to try to get wins, so you can play PlayStation tournaments and literally glitch out and not play but get the win. It is insanity what these players do. Why would rewards matter? You can literally do all this nonsense with any players. You don't need all the best rewards, so I don't get the addiction to winning that these rats have, and I don't get the addiction to getting these top rewards that these rats seem to want to get in Rivals and Champs when, like I said, if you are going to literally just not play football in this game, who cares about getting rewards to then build your team up? It literally makes no sense, and I can't believe there are people out there that are wasting time from their life to do this. I mean, if you love football and you want to play football and this is your outlet to play football, it makes sense. If you are covering this game, you have a channel like Inception says, like, I cannot stand this game, but it's my living. It's been his living for a long time. Okay, that makes sense to keep playing. But these rats, how they play, or I should really say how they play in air quotes, because it is not truly playing football. It is not truly competing. And so we can only hope that EA Sports does something to exterminate these rats entirely. However, based on the fact that the last issue, or one of the last issues that the game has that keeps attracting these rats, is something EA Sports has had a problem with but hasn't talked about for years. I mean, they fix these other issues as they've come up, but the server nonsense, the lag delay, the inconsistent gameplay, where your players will feel great one game and then the next game you literally can't move. Everything's just so slow motion. I mean, that is literally one of the last things these rats are clinging to, because this trashy, laggy gameplay is not the same for both players every single game. You can easily tell this when you can't get a pass off, you can't get a shot off. Everything you do is slow motion and the opponent is able to step in and prevent you from doing anything. And what these rats will do to take advantage of it is make bad pass after bad pass after bad pass, but they know you won't be able to react quickly once you intercept their pass or stop them when they're trying to dribble. So they will keep running forward into you, knowing that they will most likely get the ball back. And then that's how they create their chances, not through any type of skill. Defensively, they will get absolutely burned, but then they know you won't be able to shoot as quickly as you should, so they will rush back, make a tackle on you, or they can literally eat a sandwich and move their goalie every which way, and so your shots are basically telegraphed. If you even do get one off, they're going to easily move their keeper into the right position to save the shot. So this is exactly why these rats in Rivals and Champs and in areas where they can't do what they do in PlayStation tournaments and literally get a win without playing the game, this is their next best thing. This is why they want lag. They want that nonsense gameplay. It helps them out. Now, other games, both players experience the heaviness, both players experience the delay, and it makes for extremely ugly football. And this even helps the lower skilled rats too, because it minimizes or totally takes away the skill gap that is in the game. Therefore, These low-level players will now have a chance to not only compete, but many times win, even though they have no business even competing with the opponent. Now, the last thing I want to bring up is the fact that players will say, well, it's not my fault this is in the game. Or players will say, hey, why are you mad at them? They didn't make it to where you could cheat in PlayStation tournaments and get the win without playing. They didn't make it where you could take advantage of the crappy servers. Like, I didn't. It's not my fault the servers are like that. Yeah, it's not. But you are the player choosing not to play football. No matter how the game is, you can still play football. And I show this game in and game out. And the fact that I'm a much higher ranked player than these rats, which I know because I literally ask them, I literally discuss it on stream for this type of reason, to show you that these rats go nowhere. So they don't even have the excuse like, well, I'm a top ranked player, this is what I have to do to get that. No, these are lower level, low skill players every time. And so myself, who plays football and has on my main account, this account, whatever, and still gets much higher than these players that totally rat to get their wins, what does that tell you about how that style of play works, right? But nonetheless, these losers come out of the woodwork. And no matter how many times they finish terribly and fail playing the way they do, whatever causes them to be the losers they are, I guess we'll just not allow them to actually work at getting better at the game and improving. Whatever nonsense leads them to turn on a football game just to do anything to win without playing football is a clear indicator that these are losers, because no winner would possibly do something like this. Not just in football, but in anything, in any competition, anything that you have to work at to get better. No winner is going to decide, you know what, I'm going to do whatever I can to not get better and still get the results. Since when is that even a thing? You put in the work and you reap what you sow. Therefore, it would be amazing if one day, whether it's EA Sports, maybe it's PlayStation by actually doing something more severe to these cheaters in these PlayStation tournaments, whatever it is, let's just hope these rats will reap what they sow. Now, with that all being said, if you made it this far, I hope that means you have or will like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please join our Discord. The link is in the YouTube bio. We have a great community full of players talking football games, real life football, just everything. We would love for you to join. And until next time, have a good one. Peace out.